Ambi-ON.
Ambi-ON.
What a
Our first game.
Our first game, indeed. What did you think about Ambi-ON?
Well, it was a brick breaker.
Mm-hmm.
It was vertically scrolling.
Mm.
Was free to play.
Mm-hmm.
It took us about 6 months.
It was about that. It came together relatively quickly. Didn't it?
Once we had the idea.
Right.
Once we had the idea, we just took off.
Right, and that was being our first game. We didn't have any process, did we? It was just sort of let's just charge in and make a game.
Right. I had the idea in my head about exactly it was going to be a two-thumbed brick breaker game. So we actually have two paddles.
Right.
And each thumb controlled a different paddle. But then once we actually tried that out, we thought, well, the screen too much of the screen space was taken by the different thumbs. So you had the idea to just control both paddles with one thumb, which was an awesome idea.
We also, I think I recall that if you play the game, if you see it, the background scrolls, and I think initially it was static, wasn't it?
Right.
So you're just breaking apart this formation in the middle. But I think I recall at one stage we thought that maybe it looked a bit too flat and a bit static.
Right.
So we tried to, that's when I suggested that we have the background scrolling.
Right.
Just so that, very slowly, just so that it could always be changing out with new content and new challenges and new forms to break into.
Right. That was a good idea too.
Yeah, we didn't actually have any process at that stage, so it was more sort of a case of just doing what was necessary to get the game working.
Right.
And I believe that because we hadn't talked about graphics and we hadn't talked about anything about what we wanted it to look like, when you had done the prototype, that was when I just started making the music.
Right.
Because I didn't have anything better to do at that stage. So just make the music.
Right. And it was like a heavy metal.
Yeah, I was watching a whole lot of Pantera videos though, for some reason. I don't know, I had a sort of a Pantera thing going.
Right.
And that's what kind of inspired the industrial soundtrack for Ambi-ON.
Right. And that just set the whole mood of the game itself, right?
It was convenient, wasn't it? I think instead of concept art, we found that by doing the music first, we could use that. You could listen to it while you were programming.
Right.
And it just, I guess, I have a musical background, and so I suppose it's kind of easy to sort of pull artistic ideas out of a piece of music.
Right.
I just find that very easy to do, as opposed to pulling them out of like a piece of concept art, which is a bit more of a literal process.
Right.
There's blue, I'll use blue. There's black, I'll use black.
Right.
I think with music you have much more leverage, much more leeway to kind of be more interpretive in colours and feels and stuff, transferring the oral into visual.
Right. And game design as well, because I think if you think about game design, you're
Cheers. Yeah, I'm listening.
Yeah, game design, whatever. A lot of game design is like
cheap wine. It's good stuff. Yeah, go on.
What was I talking about? Okay, so game design.
Yes.
So a lot of it is pacing. Like, how fast should this element be? Like, how fast should the energy ball move around? If the ball hits an enemy, what should it feel like? Like, what kind of feedback should you give? Yeah. Moving on.
Now Ambi-ON actually grew into being a free-to-play game, didn't it?
Yeah.
Why did we do that?
I think for a few reasons. One, we knew that we wanted to make mobile games, and I think we were doing, I guess, the naive way of making games based on what's popular. A little bit of that. But I also did have a genuine interest in the free-to-play games at the time, because I was playing games like Zombie Highway and Temple Run. Just the generic, the top 5 free-to-play games, and they were actually really fun for me. I remember playing like Zombie Highway in my futon, like next to my wife, like at 12 o'clock at night.
Right.
She's like, "What are you doing?" Like, "I'm killing zombies on a highway." But I thought the device and the game genre and the mechanics, they all just kind of like, they were very cohesive to me, I thought. Because a lot of those games were very like one touch or one gesture game mechanics.
Right.
And very loose, very casual, because I think, again, the device is a very casual device where you're going to be playing it for like 5 minutes on a train or something like that.
Right.
And I think that's what we're going for. Actually, that's one reason why we wanted Ambi-ON to be one-handed.
So you could play it on a train.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So only, we were thinking of a game that could be played with only one hand.
Right. Unfortunately, though, even though we made it free to play and we did our best to structure it that way, it didn't really sort of go too well from a commercial point of view.
Right.
I think there's so many reasons for that. I suppose marketing, we didn't realise the importance of it. We possibly didn't put enough effort into marketing the game.
Right, or user acquisition. And
Right.
I think one thing I learned over the past couple of years was releasing a traditional game and releasing a free-to-play game, completely different processes, right? So with a free-to-play game, it's all about iterating. You get a minimum viable product out, and you get a few users to play it, and then you test how many in-app purchases they're buying.
Right, right.
And if they're not buying that many, you tweak the mechanics a little bit, so they are buying more, and then you re-release, and you spend a bit of money on user acquisition, and then you rinse and repeat until you have a lot of users and a good conversion rate.
Right, right.
And which is not, there's a lot of emotions involved with like the free-to-play model, but I think for us it boils down to like, if you want to be doing that day in and day out, do you actually want to be tweaking a game a little bit and then looking at analytics and then re-releasing to get more money? And I just think that's not really what we want to be doing.
I think another thing
on a daily
is
basis.
that I think you and I basically, we're not the kinds of gamers who like games that feel like shopping ourselves.
Right.
So if we don't like that ourselves, it's very difficult for us to create a game where you need to be doing that kind of shopping while you're playing the game. That is still comfortable for the player, and then also ticks all the boxes as far as game design point of view. So because we're not really comfortable with those kinds of games ourselves, and we tend to like those much simpler, here's my money, thank you for this value kind of exchange for games. It was quite difficult to balance Ambi-ON, wasn't it? So that it was it could make money, but then still be very fun for the player as well. So we certainly learned a lot.
Oh yeah. I'm glad that we just got it out there. We were talking about that the other day.
Yeah, I think that was your decision. That if it was me, I probably would have still been working on Ambi-ON now, trying to get it just right. But I think it was you that said, no, our best game is going to be our next one. So let's just get it out there and learn from it and move on.
Yeah. And
we did move on, didn't we?
We did.
To Mosaic.
Stay
tuned for that next time. Okay,
there we go.
You do that. Jeez.